Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm making a video on 5 reasons why you should not get into the HVAC or refrigeration trade. I recently made a video on 5 reasons why you should get into the business, and just to provide balance, uh, I should make a 5 reasons why you should not, right? So it was a little bit difficult for me to make this list because I consider myself a person that kind of sees the positive in a lot of things, or in most things. So I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so let's just start. So the first one is, and probably I think this is probably the one that people can't hang with a lot, is long hours and bad schedules. So again, everything's optional. So there is long hours, okay? It's very rare that you get off in the HVAC and refrigeration at a set time. So you know when you're gonna start typically, whether it's 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 6 p.m. But then you don't really know when you're gonna get off, okay? Because typically you stop working. You could get your last call at 3, for an example. If you start at 5, you get your last call at 3. Well, there's no guarantee that that call isn't gonna take you 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours. So just something, some days you're getting off at 4 o'clock, some days you're getting off at 8 o'clock. And a lot of people just cannot handle that. They got babysitters, they got other things that they need to do at exactly at 6 o'clock that this business will interfere with. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. In the positive note, if you don't have, things scheduled, if you're a single guy, if your spouse is understanding that you're going to work those hours, then perfect. You're going to make, solid money, right? You're going to make good money because every, moment that you're working, you're earning more money, right? Especially if you're in the overtime and double time and all that. So the second is extreme conditions. So you are never fixing these things in perfect weather. It just doesn't happen, right? The demand is either when it's super hot out, that's when they break down, the air conditioner breaks down when it's super hot out. So you're constantly working in extreme heat, sometimes in attics, a lot of times on rooftops. So it's super, super hot. I mean, the roofs can get 130, 135 degrees. Attics can get 140, 145 degrees. So the conditions are extreme. And when it's cold, if you live in parts of the world that are cold, well, same thing. You're not fixing these furnaces when it's 80 degrees outside, 70 degrees outside. You're fixing these furnaces, they like to break down when it's 10 degrees outside, right? 30 degrees outside. So extreme conditions, okay? Now, that may not bother you. It may not bother you. I mean, I can't really handle the cold, but I can handle the heat pretty well. And now it started to make sense as to why I don't get sick very much. And I think it's because I just recently learned that the more time you spend in the sun, the more vitamins you get, or something like that. So that's a positive. Sometimes I'm out in the sun and it's 130 degrees on that roof, and I'm like, man, well, at least I'm getting, some vitamins from the sun. So, and some people aren't. They're in offices all day and they're taking pills for it, right? Look at the positive. Okay, number 3. I once read that HVAC, mechanical, and refrigeration was in like the top 20 of most deaths, in the United States, which is where I live. So obviously it's dangerous. Yeah, I mean, I think driving on the freeway is pretty dangerous too, right? I think there's a lot of things that are dangerous. Bungee jumping is dangerous, right? It doesn't stop a lot of people, right? They still do it. So it's just something to think about. You need to know that you are working with moving parts, moving motors, very high voltage. Every year I hear somebody die in an attic or on top of a roof from, they just get a heat stroke and they die. No one's there to save them. Sometimes you're by yourself and you get a heat stroke, no one's coming to save you. So a lot of these things can be super preventive. Some things you are just gonna mix up and mess up, or somebody else is gonna mess it up for you. One time I was working on an AC, and I was working on the AC, and I turned off the power myself, and possibly my fault. I did not tag it out as you are supposed to, and another tech came by and he was flipping breakers and he turned on the one I was working on. So the thing sparked. Nothing happened to me, but they just sparked, right? Because he put power. It could have been something bigger, yeah. But again, maybe had I just tagged it out, that wouldn't have happened. So I do see though that there is danger, okay? Just keep that in mind. It's probably not a huge number of people that happens to, but yeah, every single year I hear of a couple guys that, they pretty much, they have a heat stroke and no one's gonna save you. That's probably the biggest thing. Number 4, it is labor intensive. Okay, so it is hard work. It really is. So sometimes you're carrying a 75-pound compressor on your shoulder while on an extension ladder 25 feet, 28 feet up onto a flipping 612 pitch, 712 pitch roof. That's kind of hard. And then not to mention, again, the heat on top of that, or the cold on top of that. It's just not easy work, okay? It's just not easy, but neither is oil rigging, right? I've never done that, but just by looking at it, those guys look like they sweat, they get pretty grimy and pretty dirty. So it's just labor intensive, like most construction jobs are. Last one, it can be stressful. I know it depends on the company. It depends on the people that you're working with, your team, your crew. It really depends on a lot of that stuff. If your team is irresponsible, if the guys aren't showing up on time, even if you're doing everything right and these just guys are not showing up, it can throw you off and it can put a little bit more stress on you. Also, dispatch isn't doing things right, a whole bunch of stuff. But if that's what's going on in your company, talk it with the company, tell them to get it right. And if it's a lot of stress, then just leave, just go somewhere else. Trust me, there are companies here that have minimal stress, okay? They're not going to stress you out. I've worked in companies that really stress you out, and I'm currently working in a company that I'm rarely stressed out, okay? It's a very nice environment. So it really depends. Everything is optional, okay? So that's pretty much it. That is the 5 reasons why you should not get into looking at it positive. Long hours, you make more money. That was the first one. Second, extreme conditions, hot and cold. Well, you get a little tougher, right? Who doesn't want to be a little tougher? Is it dangerous? Yeah, a little bit. But so is bungee jumping, right? And you don't get paid to do that. So is skydiving, and you don't get paid to do that. So is cliff diving into, into the lake or into the beach. And people do it. I've done it. I didn't get paid for that. So something to think about. Labor intensive, you stay in decent shape. You're probably not going to be 300 pounds and, in an attic, crawling in an attic. It just doesn't really happen. I haven't seen it done yet. So you stay in decent shape. And then the last one, stressful. They say that working under stress or knowing how to work under stress is a skill set. So maybe it's good to be under a little bit of stress and know what that feels like, right? Always look at the positive. Well, everyone, thank you for watching. Share this with a friend, like and subscribe, comment, please. what you thought about this list. And then if you want to add something to it, go ahead, and let me know. I'll see you in the comment section.